What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of History Before Us. And this is a very special episode because this is someone, I'm a blues guy and I love the blues, especially throwback blues, 1930s, 40s, 50s. I lived in Memphis, Tennessee, from Tennessee. And so the blues has always been a part in my life, in some way, shape or form, as it relates to the craft of blues. And so I have ancestors that are from Florence, Alabama. And so when I found out that this blues legend, the father of the blues, W.C. Handy, had a home that was still erected here in Florence, Alabama, I said, I gotta check it out. And I've been trying to get in contact with this young lady over the years, really about 4 years, and we've been able to communicate. And now I'm here at the University of North Alabama doing a screening for one of my films. And I reached out to Ms. Norwood, and she was like, "Yep, come on in. We'll explore the museum and the birthplace of W.C. Handy." So, how are you doing today?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing good, and I greatly appreciate this opportunity because we've been trying.
Well, we finally connected.
We finally connected. And so, if you don't mind telling us where we're at.
We are at the W.C. Handy Museum, which is a museum and also the log cabin where he was born. And this is a site here at 620 West College Street, Florence, Alabama.
Excellent. And can you tell us a little bit about your ties to Alabama? I know that you were raised somewhere else, but you have some ties here in the city, which obviously maybe have motivated you to take this role on?
Yes, I was born in 1940. I was 3 years old when we left the area and we moved to Illinois. And I stayed in Illinois until 1996. We moved here. My parents were born and raised here. I was born here in a little place up the road called Pisgah, Alabama. My parents retired and they moved back here in 1972. And my husband had never been south. My grandparents stayed here, but we got sent back here every summer until I was 15 years old.
And I remember you said once you got a regular job,
I didn't have to come back to the farm anymore or whatever. But my family live here. The Armsteads is part of my family. Okay. My grandmother was an Armstead, and there's a lot of history here. I would never move back to Illinois again. I have become very, very complacent to Florence or whatever, the country, the clean air.
Yeah.
And
it's a little bit slower too, right?
There's a lot of historical things around.
Absolutely. And y'all, she's being very humble because we were inside and she was telling me so much that she did, being the first Black person to do this with this specific entity within the government. I believe it was with the government faction. And then also there is a festival that's here that you chair?
No, 1 year. I was a chairperson of the W.C. Handy Music Festival for 1 year.
But you've always had your hand in it in some way, shape, or form? Would that be accurate?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So tell us, this is his home. Was this the original home site or was this building moved from elsewhere and brought here?
It was moved. It originally was on what they call Handy's Hill. It still is Handy's Hill. And it was located on the corner of Cherokee and Bill Street. That's where the home was originally located. The city wanted to buy the property and they wanted to make public housing there and up there on the hill or whatever. And so WC sold, the cabin was tore down, a 2-room cabin was tore down, and WC sold the land to the city for $20,000. He returned that $20,000 for the home to be relocated and built and have a museum out of it. It was years, and I don't know how many years, but the logs were torn down and they were stored in the W.C. Handy school up there on the hill in the basement for years and years and years.
So these were stored for years?
Yes, but some of the logs were completely deteriorated.
Okay.
All the logs in there are not. A lot of them are the original logs, but a lot of them are not the original logs.
But just to even think about how the foresight that he had to sell that and then to know that he wanted it put back together and put somewhere else. I mean, that takes a vision.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
that
yes,
definitely takes
yes.
vision. And so, when was it brought here?
And I think it was in 1955, I think it was.
1955. Okay. And right here I'm seeing the sign, of course, 1873 to 1958. Those are the years of his birth as well as his return.
Right.
Right. Okay.
Right.
Growing up, or when you would come down here, was W.C. Handy ever talked about? Like, was he
No.
revered in the community when you came?
No. When I came down here, well, like I said, I was 15 when I stopped coming down here, but I was never, I was back out in the country. So I never knew. I had heard of W.C. Handy, but
Sure.
I didn't know anything I did not know that he was born here.
Okay.
Or anything at all about any, history at all.
Yeah. Is it safe to walk up the steps?
Sure.
Yeah. So, for you, and I'm gonna, if you don't mind me telling people how young you are, being a person who has been well traveled, as we've talked previously, a lover of history, and you mentioned how how much history is here in Florence at the beautiful young age of 85, right?
85.
85. Having something like this still in African American communities, based on your lived experience and how much you've seen loss, how important is it for this place to be here, for this building to be here, represented in the community?
I think it's very important for it to be. We get, a lot of locals have already been here, and we don't get a lot of locals coming in. School kids, they might have, come in or whatever, but we get people from all over the world.
Really?
And when I say all over the world, I mean all over the world.
That's how impactful he was.
Some of them can't speak English, and they have an interpreter, with them or whatever, and but they come from all over the world, more from out of state and all over than, in-state. But locals, they've been here. You've seen it once, you've seen it all.
For
so.
sure. What is, with you doing all the research that you've been doing for the W.C. Handy Museum and about his life and everything, what stands out the most for you?
His determination.
Talk more about that.
His determination, because during the time that, he was, from the time he was a kid or whatever, and I'm going to share a story with you. He did yard work, for whites and that locally and around. That's what he did. And he would save his money up. And he would go, there was the store downtown Florence, and they had a guitar in the window. And he would just stand there and he would just, he wanted that guitar so bad. Well, his father was a preacher, which is right next corner over. That's where St. Paul. His father was a pastor there at St. Paul. Well, his father did not want him to go into singing or any blues or nothing at all whatsoever.
No secular music.
No, none at all whatsoever. Okay, he finally got up enough money and he bought this guitar, and he come running home and he was so excited, and he went in and his father looked and he said, "Come on," and he marched him back downtown and made him turn that guitar in for a dictionary, a Webster dictionary. So he was very, very hurt, over that. Well, his father, even when he got up and he started, like playing, his father told him that he'd rather walk behind his hearse than to see him play the devil's music. His father never went to see him but one time perform. And W.C. did not even know that his father was in the audience. And after the performance, his father went up and tapped him on the shoulder and he said, "I'm proud of you."
Wow.
So, but the music was always in his head, As you probably know, back then, most black people were sharecroppers. And But you better believe on Friday or Saturday night
They were
had a
juking
juke
somewhere.
They had a juke joint somewhere, fried fish,
Yeah,
chicken,
yeah.
or whatever.
Little moonshine.
Well, yeah, WC was never able. He was not even allowed to walk past one of these juke joints.
Wow.
And everybody knew that he was a preacher's son. So if he tried to even stop, they
They
would,
would get him. Yeah,
report.
they would sound the alarm.
But on Fridays or Saturday nights, when his grandmother and his grandfather, because 5 of them lived in that cabin, grandmother, grandfather, mother, father, and WC was born in there.
Wow.
When they would go to sleep, he would sneak out the house, come down the hill, because Handy's Hill is up on the hill, and the cabin was located right on the hill there, Bill and Cherokee. He would sneak down out the house, and he would find one of these juke joints, and he would crawl up underneath the house, and he would just listen at them play and sing the blues, because the blues was actually about their life experiences.
For sure.
It was not make-up stuff. It was about their trials, their tribulations, maybe a broken romance or something or whatever. And it might be, it might not be music instruments like, we have like horns and trumpets. It might be, a piccolo. It might be a harp or guitar, or it might be a washboard or whatever. But it intrigued him. Music was always in his head. And he could tell you any type of bird that you could hear chirping. Right. He could tell you exactly what kind of bird it was or whatever.
He was just different.
Yeah, it was just there, and he was just determined. So his determination is what the greatest thing that, I understand that he could even go through, because even after he got, where he would go, you travel, you couldn't stay at hotels, you couldn't stay, have food in restaurants, you slept on the side of the road or whatever. And then he became homeless in St. Louis, and he slept underneath the bridge, just homeless, but he was still determined, just to go on. I mean, it was just embedded in him. It would not come out. And then, he went blind. He had a stroke, and he went blind, and he went back to school and learned how to read and write Braille, and continued to publish music in Braille. So it was just that determination. Another thing that, he went to, he did not have a college degree.
Right.
But he went to Wilberforce.
Up in Ohio.
But his father sent him there to become a clergyman. And he dropped out. It just was not, it was not that was not what he wanted to do, and he dropped out. But him and his father, I don't think they had, that was not a good relationship because his father wanted him to go,
into ministry.
To ministry,
Yeah.
and he did not want to do that.
So so obviously we're on the front porch here, and I'm looking. So what was the original structure for the home? Is this an add-on? Or
No,
was this original
is
as
the
well?
actual cabin.
This is the whole thing.
The front is the actual cabin, and some of these logs. See, you'll see some logs, and they don't have these. These are where they were actually hewed. These are some of the original
right
logs. Yeah, these marks are hewed with an axe.
Okay.
See, but that was something else. But if you look, even in the inside, when you get inside, you'll see.
Yeah.
None of these logs were actually, they were all one piece. They were not, sawed in half and put back together or whatever. But most of the logs that you see, a lot of them, they had to be replaced because they had rotted.
Yeah.
And they were not, the roof and the ups is not the original roof or anything at all, in there, whatever. But
But some of these, you can definitely see, like, especially on that end, those are most definitely original.
yeah, right, right. But
see.
this front is the original cabin, and it's just that room and this room. And when you get in the inside, you'll see that was the actual 2-room cabin
Okay.
where he was born.
So she-
His wife, his first wife, Elizabeth
W.C.
Price.
Handy's first wife?
Yeah,
Okay.
W.C. Handy's first wife, Elizabeth Price from Henderson, Kentucky. She was very, very light complected. You know, she could really pass for white. Her mother was a slave, and her father last name was Price, and he was a plantation owner. And when W.C. He was passing through, and they had a little band or whatever, and he sort of fell in love with her,
Yeah.
whatever. But when he got ready to marry her, he asked the father, could he have her hand in marriage? And he told him no, that she was his indentured servant. He was a white plantation owner, even though slavery had been over for years.
Yeah, because that was a
But,
thing. There were contracts
now,
for indentured
and
servants.
he had to pay for it. Now, if he ever paid for it, does not say in his, in his biography, autobiography, that he did actually pay for it.
Wow.
But that was,
So
but
as it relates to the institution of enslavement, that was the only thing that he had
that
ever
was
mentioned.
the only thing
Nothing
that,
as it relates to his own
nothing in his-
family.
no.
But we know that his family was enslaved here in Florence.
Right,
Okay.
right.
Okay. Yep, on the bottom, 2013.
Yeah, that's when the marker was put here. Yeah, now there's the other marker
I
up
seen it's another one that's up on the hill.
Cherokee. Yeah, that's where the cabin was originally located.
Okay.
Was on Cherokee and Beale Street.
Okay.
On Handy's Hill.
Now, the Beale Street, was the Beale Street here before it was in Memphis, or was it in Memphis and then, talk to me,
It was here,
here first?
but Beale Street says it was there. So
We don't know.
I
They
don't
got a little
know.
beef going on.
I don't know. There's people from Memphis will come in and they'll say, that or whatever, that they named the street after Beale Street in Memphis, but then, just from hearing people say, I don't know. I didn't, do you know?
No?
But I heard that it was Beale Street in
Memphis
Memphis
first.
named,
Yeah.
after the Beale Street here, so.
Okay. All right, so let's head on in. Now, we got to talk about this real quick.
What, the bottle tree?
Oh, absolutely. Because see, in the low country of South Carolina, you see a lot of this. New Orleans, all these different southern places, so the bottle tree. Is this something that you had already, the bottle tree, is this something that you've always known about?
No.
Okay.
No, I never knew anything about a bottle tree until maybe about 19 years ago.
Really?
And when I went to Africa, that's when I learned about bottle trees and pieces of cloth
Yeah.
being hung on,
Yeah.
whatever. But I had never heard of a bottle tree.
And so you come to know this being what it is that you know now when you went over to Africa. But doesn't that speak to the African diaspora? Because when you
Yes.
go to the low country of South Carolina, it's
Oh, yeah.
everywhere. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's everywhere.
You go to Savannah,
Right.
some of those places. And so it just to go show that how connected we are.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
For sure. And she's a traveler, y'all. Let me tell you. We talked for about an hour before we started doing this. Well, not an hour, but 30 minutes. And she's been everywhere. So I just hope that when I get older, that I'm able to travel just as much as you are.
You will.
Yes.
You gotta keep rolling.
Gotta
That's all.
keep rolling. That's what's up. All right, so now we are inside this joint. This is nice. And I'm gonna get a shirt from you too. All right, so walk us through. It smells good too.
Try to keep it that way. We try to keep it nice and neat and clean.
Yeah.
When the foundation took it over from the city, I'm sort of skeptical about saying certain things, but anyway, it's a fact, okay? I worked under the city for about 5 years, and it was always sort of put on the back burner.
The building.
The building,
Okay.
the building, things that needed to be done or whatever, it was put on the back burner. If I would call over and I'd say, well, maybe my lights are out, or I need toilet paper, or I need paper towels or whatever, then it would not always get done.
Yeah.
It wouldn't get done. And then the other thing was the disparity between the admission fees. You know, the admission fees were lower
Here.
here
Yeah.
than they were at, say, Frank Lloyd Rice or whatever. So, you know, I didn't understand that.
So, well, let me ask this one question, and just being really direct. Do you think that there was this notion that that place will go under at some point because you didn't have the same support that other areas had?
No, I didn't think it would go under until I think after the foundation took it over. Then and another thing, they have not given. The city has a festival every year. They have never ever given 1 penny since it went under the foundation. Not 1 copper cent toward the foundation at all, whatever. And the opening ceremony was, you know, always held here until last year. It was not, because the president, Dr. Carlos Handy, you know, he asked for them. The water, they would use the water, they used electricity, the doo-dah run was all ran, you know. But then they have never ever, and there has been meetings, you know, just asking them for a contribution or whatever, and
Not so much getting it.
you know, and it's not really, I wouldn't say necessarily the city, because the city finances, or they give, they sponsor 3 things for the festival. One was opening ceremony, which is held here. The other one was Lewis Field, which is up on Handy's Hill. And I don't remember what the third one was. But, you know, it was just asked of them, okay, if you are sponsoring it, can't you say or give a certain amount of money to the foundation?
For sure.
But it has never been. So last year was the first time that Dr. Carlos Handy said, well, if you're going to have the opening ceremony there, then you have to pay to have it there, you know, which didn't go over. And it wasn't, you know, it wasn't a significant amount, you know, that, but they claimed, and it's not more the city, it's more, I think, the Music Preservations is the one that's over the festival.
Okay, gotcha.
After they took it, after the foundation took it over, we you know, we changed a lot of things, which, you know, we were unable to change before. That I thought that should be, like the piano was back there, you know, in the room back there, and I had even asked, you know, when you walk in the door, that ought to be the first thing that pop out at you,
and the
you
picture.
know. And the picture, you know. So after the foundation took it over, and Dr. Carlos Handy and his wife Maribel, they came, and then we changed, you know, like the mural here, you know, well, it just depicts the time. The time.
And Dr. Carlos Handy, that's his grandson.
And yes, that's his grandson. Yeah. And that, and you know, different little things, you know.
So this also gives a depiction of a little bit of Florence history too.
Yes, it does. Well, as a matter of fact, whenever my bowls fall off, I'm out in the country and there's cotton fields. I just go up there and pull
Grab
up
some
some.
more.
I don't try to. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, good stuff.
Yeah.
And so obviously, when you all come in the museum, the first thing that you're going to see, right down the hallway, is this beautiful piano. What is the significance?
This piano is a piano that he composed St. Louis blues on in 1914.
So this is the piano.
This is the actual piano, and it's an old player piano.
Oh, okay. And so did this get returned to Florence? Like, where was this at before it got here?
I don't know where it was, where exactly it was or whatever it was. I don't know if they moved it from New York or if he had taken it to New York or if it was moved from Memphis when he moved from Memphis to New York.
To New York, yeah. But this is St. Louis Blues was played right here. You all see right here. Boom. This is the piano on which W.C. Handy composed the St. Louis Blues.
Yeah.
It's official.
That's official.
Yeah, right here too. That's what's up. I love it.
Yeah. The pictures are, you know, that's original.
Yeah.
Picture of the, actually it's not the band, the orchestra or whatever it is or whatever.
Right.
But we have a lot of things that we have not even
Put out. They're in
We
storage
don't
somewhere.
have, we've been trying to buy that lot. You know, the Handys has been trying to buy that empty lot to expand it.
So what's the issue?
We don't know. We went to the city and,
That's
you
a
know, they
whole nother
say
story.
that they don't own it, and they say that the school board own it, and the school board says that they own it, and so
One of those back and forth.
back and forth, back and forth.
The ones
but-
that you don't get nowhere with.
Yeah, but you know.
So I did want to ask about some of these things over here, though. So I see that obviously there's the book Father of the Blues, in which I do have that book, which is the autobiography of W.C. Handy. And again, it's amazing that you had mentioned that, you know, when he went blind and everything, he learned how to do things in Braille. But what about some of these other things?
Oh, these are his. These are, you know, and these are some kind of sound things. I don't even know what they are. This is original. Got a lot of his original books, and we'll, you know, see them in the exhibition room.
Okay, and
You
then
know,
of course
there.
there's some right here some things related to where he was playing at and. St.
Well,
Louis
yeah,
Blues
most
and
of these
everything
are
else.
like the covers of his, you know, of his songs or whatever, you know, that he, yeah.
Okay. I love it.
This is his daughter, Catherine, and she sung St. Louis Blues. I think she was about the only one that was a singer or whatever in the family.
Okay.
And this here is the Deegan organ chimes. There was only 3 of these made, and as you see in the picture there, you can see that there was one. There was only 3 of these made. One is at Lawrence Welk Studio Museum in California. This is another one, and I don't know where the third one
is. Okay.
but it was only 3 of them made.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
As it relates to W.C. Handy's grandfather, when we were in here, when I was glancing in this room right here, it was something on the TV that was speaking to his grandfather, perhaps escaping the institution of enslavement. Is that what I saw on here?
His brothers.
Or his grandfather? Or his grandfather's brothers?
His grandfather's brothers.
Yeah, so what was that story?
It's about, and I really don't know what the true story is about it, but I do know that he was running, or he was actually pursued or running, and he was actually killed, you know.
Wow.
Or whatever. But
And this is W.C. Handy's grandfather.
his grandfather's brother.
Okay, his grandfather, so his uncle.
It's
his great uncle.
His great uncle.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
Wow.
Right.
Okay. So now I see right here, because I know he did go to A&M, It says right here, W.C. Handy, the conductor.
Yes,
So,
at A&M. Yeah, he was
and that's
a
Alabama
conductor.
A&M, y'all. So this is him right,
right
here. Check this out. W.C. Handy. That's what's up.
That's him.
I love it.
Yeah, that is him.
He didn't do too shabby for a kid whose father didn't necessarily want him dealing with business or dealing with music,
no, he
right?
did not. He did not.
I love it.
Yeah, yeah. And if you see, I
wonder if this is like a camp or something like this, because obviously he would be in college, and it says A&M College Band, but these guys look young. They don't look college age.
Yeah, especially
Yeah,
a lot of
young
them.
right there. So I'm wondering if it was like a camp and some of the younger kids came in and the older college kids were showing them the ropes. Isn't it just different how you see, like, now or back in the day, so many kids were enamored with trumpets, with guitars and drums. You see so many pictures, but now you'll never see that.
You don't see them.
Yeah.
You really don't. You really don't.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I just want to point that out. All right, next room.
We still have a lot of things that have not been put out. As you see, we got tons of
Tubs. Oh yeah.
tubs that things that have it's not
Still
put
waiting to be
out or
explored.
whatever. Still working. We don't have any place really actually to.
That's why we need that next spot. That spot next door.
This is his actual one of his trumpets.
Wow.
There was two here at the museum, and some years ago, the curator it's been some years ago, she was an older lady, and somebody from Memphis came, and they were having some exhibition because he lived in Memphis.
They got a statue of him.
And that's where St. Louis Blues was composed at, was in Memphis. But anyway, they come and they wanted to borrow the trumpet, and she did not get a name or have them sign for it or nothing. And that trumpet has been missing for years and years and years. So we didn't ever, reclaim any of that or whatever. But that is, yeah.
This is his.
That's his or whatever. And
his honorary doctorate degree of music at Wilberforce.
At Wilberforce, yeah.
Alabama Music Hall of Fame, 1987. Man, so many pictures. This one right here too, 1954.
This is Carlos.
Okay.
And that's his twin sister.
Okay, beautiful.
That
now,
is
his sister still alive too?
She's the only one. She lives in New York.
Okay.
Yeah, that's him, and that's his grandchildren and his great-grandchildren.
Wow.
That's him and his grandchildren and great-grandchildren. Have you ever seen this movie, St. Louis Blues?
I haven't.
Well, you can get it on Netflix, and you need to get it because look at the cast.
Nat King Cole, Eartha Kitt, Pearl Bailey, Mahalia Cab, Ruby Dee, wow, Juano Hernandez, Ella Fitzgerald, Billy Preston. I know all those names.
Yes.
Okay. I have Netflix, so I'm gonna check it out.
Yeah, it's very entertaining. It's not all,
Music.
Music is well, it's a lot of music in there, but it's not all facts. Okay.
Oh, okay, I got you. It was Hollywood.
Right. Okay, when he was 80, he married his secretary, and she was way younger than he was.
Yeah.
But he was 80 years old. I think she was 15 years younger than he was.
And he was blind at the time.
Yeah, he was blind.
Yeah, because it says W.C. Handy takes bride, blind 80-year-old W.C. Handy composer.
Yeah, he called her his eyes.
Wow.
And he died in 1958. He was 85.
Did you ever get a chance to meet him?
No.
Okay. So you weren't down here yet?
And no, I wasn't down here.
Still in the Midwest.
And that's his Braille, where he had, where he went blind. And in 1943, he went blind.
And there's Happy 83rd right there. Still with that trumpet.
Yeah, he had that trumpet.
He wasn't going to lose that.
Yeah.
Wow. And there he is, World War I.
Yeah,
infantry
there
band.
he is, with the Army.
Yep. He's right over here. It says right end of second row. So if you all see, let me see if I can zoom in. You'll see the cursive writing. That's him right there.
I think his name is.
Yeah, that's it. Yep.
Yeah. Let me see here.
Yep.
Yeah, That's it. But he was very, you know, he had a publishing company and named the Handy Brothers Publishing Company in New York, you know.
His brother did it all.
Yeah.
Much more than just a musician.
Oh, yeah. Right, right. And, you know, not to ever really, you know, business or whatever, because there was one, the Crumps. He ran for mayor. He was ran for the mayor of Memphis, and he paid WC to do this song or whatever for his campaign, and it was called Crumps Blues. And then later it became, you know, it became the Memphis, you know, like blues or whatever. So it was not, but he, you know, he did well or whatever.
Yeah, as you see right there, Memphis Blues.
That's his brother Charles right there.
Okay.
That's his only brother.
Now, did he do anything in the music?
No, he didn't do anything. He didn't have nothing. He didn't know nothing about no music and nothing else, whatever. But he was in, you know, when shot in New York, he was sort of in the business, you know.
So he was assisting in some way.
Yeah, taking care of him or whatever. So that was that.
It's interesting to see how an individual, one generation moved from enslavement, whose father was enslaved, to just be able to rise above the ranks, defy his father's orders, and most likely the community's orders, go out, play this secular music, and become so adorned by the world, right? Like all of these are images of him, the world, y'all, and just to be one generation removed from enslavement right here in Florence, Alabama.
Right here.
Man, that's amazing.
But that's what I said that inspires me more about him was his determination.
Yes.
He never gave that up. He never ever gave it up.
He knew nothing but that.
And that's what he actually, you know, that's what really made him.
So I see right here, this is his first wife.
Yeah, this is his first wife, Elizabeth, and that's their first.
And she came from Henderson, Kentucky.
Henderson, Kentucky, and her last name was Price.
Price, okay.
And that's him and her with, you know, some of the kids there. This here was his teacher. This was WC's teacher.
Oh wow, for 11 years.
Mr. Wallace for 11 years. Yeah.
This is pretty amazing.
But
so this is this is the original.
This is the original.
Is that a goat on there?
That's a goat
that's
or
a goat
whatever. Yeah, that's the original.
You all see?
Yeah.
That's a goat right there.
Yeah.
So this is what we're about to step into right now. Wow.
Yeah. And this is a church. This is the church, St. Paul's, where his father was the pastor at. That's how it looked back then. Now it's more modern or whatever.
It's brick now, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And this is his father.
Okay, that's Reverend C.B. Handy, father of W.C. Handy, who was formerly enslaved. Wow. And is he buried here in Florence?
Yes, they're buried here in Florence. They're buried over in the cemetery on Veterans Drive, the big cemetery. But whereabouts, I don't know. We tried to find it.
Sure.
But you know, this is W.C. and his first wife.
Yeah. Is this his wheelchair? Okay.
It's his last wheelchair.
Wow.
And all of these are his books.
Those are originally his books?
Those are his original books.
Now you ain't seen this thing rolling in the building any, right? Okay. If you did, would you take off running?
No, I heard the squirrels or something got in the attic. I said, "Oh Lord," scared me half to death when I first started.
Wow.
Whatever, you know.
So this is the wheelchair of W.C. Handy. Wow.
And all of these are things that, you know, they gave him like from China, Japan, or whatever. And here's some of like his watches.
Oh, this is a Braille watch.
Yeah, that's his Braille watch, and you know, like some of his brushes and that. He was a Mason.
Okay.
And you know, his walking canes, Pearl Bailey gave him this little miniature accordion and, you know, some of his little knives or bars or whatever.
So how did you all come about all this stuff? Where was this at? Where was all
In
this
his
stuff?
house in New York.
So you just brought it down from New York? Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, but he had all, you know, he kept, you know, all of his stuff. You know what I'd really like to get into?
Talk to me.
This diary.
Oh, that's his diary. Okay, 1930, yeah, that's a diary. Well, you know we're supposed to not read people's diaries.
I know,
but I would break the rules for that.
I can't get in there. No, it's all bolted down the top.
Yeah.
But he was a very, very astute, dapper, you know, very dapper. But the thing, this one article here, I think this is the best article, and it really is true today.
Okay.
The actual day, the reading on there is actually...
It relates to time today.
It does. It does.
Yeah. It says right here, W.C. Handy's Rugged Faith. Father of the Blues says, with his music, God bless America. Amen.
But if if you read down into it, you know, and the words that he's, you know, said in there, it's very, very, you know.
Yeah. It says right here, you all, it says, I slept cold and hungry and jobless in St. Louis, Handy said, but in the agony of my helplessness, I got the inspiration for what became the blues song the city loves so well. Well, tomorrow I will be entertained there with white and black people happily together remembering me, and the city is completing plans for a big memorial to build on the very spot where I slept, cold, broke, and hungry. That's America for you. Man.
Yes.
I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Yeah.
It speaks to it right now.
It speaks to it.
There's a lot of people out there cold and hungry. Gas bills so high. Food's high. Okay, so now, before we go in here, this is the this is the original.
Not right yet.
Okay, we got one more place to go for that. Okay.
This settee was his brother's Charles's. That's the other piece of original furniture.
Okay.
And that's it. This Muriel, where it was up on Handy's Hill, there's a little creek that runs, Cypress Creek.
Yeah.
And so the Muriel sort of, we had this, you know, put up so that it really, when he was a kid, it was like the creek was there and there was all kind of, you know, trees, nut trees, it was birds and everything. So this mirror, rather than just to have it a blank wall, it sort of depicts
what he would have.
Exactly.
And maybe that's where he understood and learned about birding and everything else.
And even we had thought about even taking and having just the sound of
birds,
water and the music, you know.
I think you should.
Yeah. So we still got a lot of things to do or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
This is the actual cabin, two-room cabin where he was born. These are the original logs. The logs that you see with the huge axe marks are the original logs. Some of the logs rotted and had to be replaced. They did not have this type of mortar. The mortar was straw, clay, and it was not like cement. That's what it was.
Okay.
So we're now entering into the two-room cabin where he was born.
Wow.
None of the articles in here belong to W.C. or his family. They were just from that era of time. They did not have a wood floor. They had a dirt floor. And the dirt floor was like clay, and it would be packed down, and it would be so hard, it would be just like it was like tile or whatever.
Okay.
Just there. But all the articles in here are from that era of time, you know, but they're not original. The rafters, these rafters here are not the original rafters. These rafters came from, there was an old plantation out in the country called a Summerhill plantation, and when they tore it down, that was where these rafters came from. So they're from old slaves were, you know, they're out there too, the rafters, but nothing else, you know, in here. But if you notice, what amazes me about the cabin is, if you notice, none of the logs were, they were all there all in one piece. And just to imagine the grandfather of having to cut trees with no machinery or whatever, that really just sort of amazes me.
That's some heavy lifting, for sure.
And a lot of people will come in and they'll say, oh, I don't believe that the cabin was this large, but none of the logs, they're the same size. They have not.
Do we know which room in particular he was born in? Was it that one over there? Or was it this
kitchen.
One?
That's
so
the
this was the kitchen.
Well, it's not the kitchen, but I think it was here.
Okay.
And I say that because the cradle,
right,
was here or whatever, but
wow.
It's not none of the original, anything or whatever. And they did most of their cooking was outdoors or over the fireplace, where they had the cast iron. They would hang, the cast iron and there was no bathroom or anything. There was
the pot.
and that's a really, really good up-to-date pot.
Yeah.
The other ones were like
fancy. Some of the ones I've seen were smaller and
with a little lid on it or whatever. So yeah, but I did have a fireplace, and that was that was it. But none of this furniture in here was
original. It
original
was due to
whatever.
It was it's period accurate though. Okay.
Yeah, and that's just a door out to the actual porch, and when I tell you I didn't want to go out of there, I got to go through all this stuff
to undo it,
because we don't ever really use that door or whatever.
So when you step into this room, well, first off, your love for history, what ignited that for you, and how does it feel to be literally coming to a historic site such as this almost every single day and being able to kind of wallow in it?
Well, nothing really amazes me about this setting, because I said I was born in 1943, and I was sent here every summer. My grandparents on their farm, it wasn't a log cabin, but they didn't have running water, and they didn't have any central heat or anything. It was a fireplace in every room or whatever. They had to draw water out of a well. So it was not shocking, to me or whatever. But the point of it is, what I get out of the whole thing is that I am truly grateful that he took the money and gave it back to the city to have it restored, to become a museum. And so that people that, come from all over know the history and where he was actually born and what he was born in.
Yeah. So you coming here, it's familiar.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's familiar.
Definitely.
Okay, I didn't mean to interrupt,
but we didn't have a dirt floor. There was a floor, but we had to sweep the yard. I mean, the dirt, and we would say, why we got to sweep dirt?
Yeah, but that's what we do in the South.
But it was hard, and it was no trash or nothing, or no, so it was.
So this somewhat feels like home for you.
Yes, it does. It does. It really does. And when I look at some of the articles in here, it actually brings back, memories that curling irons and I still have my grandmother's
cast iron skillets,
cast iron pots and skillets.
Wow! And your grandmother, she died at 104 years old,
right.
And so she was born in the 1800s.
Yeah.
About you said 1880, 18.
And picked cotton all of her life, and even before she died, she did not. Even though we put air conditioner, she didn't want no air conditioner.
And she did a little tobacco too, right?
Oh yeah.
That's what a lot of women did back in the day. A lot of people.
And had never been in the hospital in her life.
Wow. And unfortunately, her we had talked previously. Unfortunately, her grandmother had never been in the hospital. She died. Unfortunately, she was picking blackberries, picking blackberries, and she fell, and unfortunately,
She got tangled up in morning glory
Yeah,
vines.
feet got tangled up, and she broke her hip, or
Yeah, she broke her hip. She had surgery. Come out the surgery the same night, pull all the tubes out to go to the bathroom, and they sedated her and tied her down.
You got a picture of this woman?
Down.
Do you have a picture of her?
I don't think I have one in my thing.
I gotta see who she is.
I'll send it to you.
Yeah, please do, because I need to see who this woman is.
Yeah,
You've been telling some amazing stories about this woman.
She is, and still had her little, in back of her house, she took a pitchfork and she would dig up her little, had about 2 tomato plants, 2 squash plants.
Still going at it.
Just.
I love it.
And had never taken any medication other than 1 St. Joseph's baby aspirin a day. All the rest of them was her home remedies.
Man.
You know,
that's
roots and whatever, sassafras, and go out. You can't even find that stuff now.
No, not anymore.
You know, you can't find it.
Yeah.
So
this is absolutely amazing. So we got a mix of things that are original as it relates to the wood, and then some that aren't, some that were brought over from other plantations and things like that. But everything in here is a depiction of what would have been here during the time period.
Exactly, rolling pins and
all the stuff.
All that.
Yep. Chest is right there.
Chest, yeah.
Yep.
Fruit jars,
Yeah. Put your jams, your preserves.
Jams, yeah, which I still do.
Yeah. Do y'all get people to come in to try to donate stuff? No? Okay.
Yeah, we don't, nobody tries to donate any. We don't even have place.
You don't have nowhere to put it.
We don't have any place. We got stuff we need to.
Y'all, they need that lot next door.
Yeah.
They need that lot next door bad so they can store some of this great stuff that they have in all these tubs up under this display.
And we got, well, we don't even put it in, in here, but we got he was given that blue note, the original award, the blue note, but his grandson has that, but that's a valuable thing or whatever. The city had come and they have a once a year a Gershom thing, and they wanted to bury the. And I said, no.
Not doing it.
No, I'm not. No. You can take a picture of it, but no, it ain't going out of here. It won't be like that trumpet or what. And then plus, it's so, the paper and stuff will just.
Yeah.
So that's why we tell everybody, you can't use a flash. No flashes in this
and I've been following
exhibition.
The rules.
Yeah.
No flashes.
Or whatever. So it's.
Well, this is, it's always, I love coming to places that have these institutions, because to me, this is an institution of education.
Yes, it is.
It's an institution of perseverance, of humanity, of history, of resilience, of struggle, opposition, all that. Because we heard all that in this thing today. Like when you mentioned, let me turn this around. So like when you mentioned that his father didn't even want him doing this type of stuff.
Right.
Right? But the determination to not be disobedient, but just to follow his gut and his passion and what it is that he wanted to do, it churned out to be this.
Right.
And this is just something that is absolutely priceless, that when we talk about legacies, generations and generations and generations of people from across the globe have been touched and have come here, even with interpreters, right? That's deep, right?
Right.
So with that being said, you being to come here on a daily basis, what does it mean to you as a once educator, once a person that worked in the government, had all these different jobs, right? What do you feel is more rewarding with this type of work from a legacy standpoint, preservation standpoint, and educating people, that stands out from anything else that you've done in your life?
The thing of actually being here and actually meeting people from all over the world and telling them about WC and what he accomplished and his determination. And for the younger ones that come in, if you set your mind and you do, you can achieve anything. You can go from homelessness to whatever, you know. It just, it inspires me. I don't ever quit learning about him or whatever. I got some letters that came that he wrote to a friend, and I guess the guy had been dead and they were going through his stuff and the letters were sent here.
Right.
But for me to go back and read some of the stuff, even his spiritual songs that, you know, he wrote and he sung, it's just inspirational to me. And, you know, I constantly learn more things about him just going through, you know, and doing a little more research or whatever on him, or having his grandson still being alive.
Sure.
And he is my boss.
Yeah.
And for him to share, you know, some of the things that he knew about his grandfather that are not written, but just being sort of part of being in the history, I guess. But even in my travels, I have had people that I have traveled with in different countries, you know, and I tell them, you know, they usually will have an opening thing, and they'll say, well, what is your job? I'm the curator at W.C. Handy Museum. Who is W.C. Handy?
You gotta educate them.
And then I tell them, and I have had people that I have traveled with over the world that have come through here on their way to Florida, and they'll stop in here because Elgene, guess what? And even though I'm not the curator, even as of last week, the curator that was here, she called and she said, there's some people here, she said, and they're from New York, and they said, where's Elgene at? They traveled with you when you went to China.
Oh, wow.
Or whatever, and they came through. I said, tell them I'll be there in 15 minutes. And we had
a
lunch
little reunion.
together.
I love it.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of it,
Yeah.
I tell you.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you, you know, Mrs. Norwood, this is great. We finally made this happen.
We finally made it
We
happen.
were trying to make it happen. We finally made it
happen.
happen. And this has been very impactful for me because every time I come back to Florence and I drive through here, and it's usually in short order, but today I had an extra day. I always wanted to come inside, and so today I finally got that opportunity, and you gave me some great education as well as some other great tips outside of WC Handy, in which we talked about in the office. So I greatly appreciate you because that's what we do as people. And so listen, you all, please make sure to do some extra research on WC Handy. Absolutely phenomenal individual, father of the blues. There's a monument of him here. There's a monument of him in Memphis. And there's another one.
St. Louis.
Yeah, and in St. Louis as well. So we ain't dealing with no pee-wee here, right? This guy has laminated his legacy in music as well as in life. So like I always tell you all, if you like this type of unheralded history, please make sure to subscribe and share. I'll leave some information as it relates to the hours of the museum, website, and all those types of things in the description of this film, in the description of this video. Do you have any last parting words that you would like to say?
I would just like to invite everybody, if you're ever in the area, then make a special trip. You will not be disappointed when you come to the museum. We have a lot of people that come in and they're really surprised. I don't know what they expect to see or whatever. And they say, oh, it's so clean and everything is so neat and it smells good or whatever. So, but we're here, and even if we're not and you have a trip or you want to come, then you can call and I will be more than happy. I am the retired curator, but I do come in and we will make you welcome and give you a chance. We would not want you to come to Florence without coming to the W.C. Handy Museum. Please come.
There you go. So look, from a tourism pitch, you got it. Listen, thank you all. Make sure to subscribe and share. Peace and blessings.